Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to discuss the next topic, that is normality. So this is Dr. Ram Singh. Let's move ahead. In today's lecture we are going to cover these topics. First of all, we will discuss about the various considerations that should be made before going towards a final analysis of your data. Then we discuss about what is normal curve. Then we will discuss about the properties of the normal curve and some numericals based on it. Then we will discuss about central limit theorem, and finally we discuss about testing the normality and interpreting the results. So first of all, let's have a look at what are the various prerequisites to data analysis. What are the various important considerations that we must look at before going for final analysis of our data. So the first point is we should consider the way of selecting the sample. How was your sample selected from the population? So of course, if we employed non-probability sampling techniques, it will result in the kind of biasness. So definitely it is not going to give you the good representation of your population. So try to make the use of probability sampling technique. Try to make that your sample should be selected randomly. So it will be the good estimators of your population values. Second point that we consider is that what was the measurement scale. I have already discussed the types of measurement scales in previous lectures. So you can go to that lecture and have the idea about these scales if you have not seen till yet. So here when we talk about measurement scale, so we must consider that what kind of measurement scale we are using for collecting the data. Normally, whatever the tests that we whatever the statistical test that we done on our samples or that we done in our analysis, they are based on one assumption that data should be continuous, means that data should be collected on interval scale or in ratio scale, right? So most of the tests are valid for continuous data. That means the data should be collected on interval or ratio scales. Then the next third point that we should consider is the assumption of normality. Means, is our data drawn from the normally distributed population or not? So this is one of the very important consideration that we must look for, because this is the consideration that decide about our hypothetical or that decide about our hypothesis testing procedure. In hypothesis testing, I have already discussed various types of hypothetical this hypothesis testing procedures. In that we have discussed that we are having parametric and non-parametric tests. So when our data is normal, right, then we go for parametric test. But if our data is not normal, then we go for non-parametric test, right? So we have discussed these tests in our previous lecture on hypothesis testing. So you can go to that lecture, and so please like, share and subscribe my channel so that you can know about the latest updates about the videos. So third is that what we are discussing about the assumption of normality, that your data must be normal. If your data is not normal, then we can't go for this parametric test. We have to rely on these non-parametric tests. But yes, there is exception is also there. We will discuss in upcoming slides, that is central limit theorem. So we will discuss over there that what are the assumption to this assumption of normality. Then last point that we must consider is homogeneity of variance. Means if we compare to a more sample, then the population from which they are selected should have the equal variances. So these are the points that we should consider before going for our final data analysis. That is, we should consider about the sample selection, about the measurement scales, then about the assumption of normality, and about homogeneity of variance. Now coming on the next topic, that is what is normal curve? That is normal distribution curve, right? So normality curve, what we were discussing about normality, concept normality. So here we are going to discuss the same thing, that our distribution must follow the normal curve. Then it will, if our sample follows the normal curve, then it will be said to be the having the normality, right? So what is normal curve? So it was discovered by Abraham de Moivre in the year 1733, and it is basically, normality curve is the probability distribution, right? And it is also known as Gaussian distribution also. The normality curve is also known as Gaussian distribution. Now, what are the various properties of normal distribution? Very important, and some of the questions you must get in your NET JRF examination or any kind of objective examination related to the research from these properties. So first is, it is also known as Gaussian curve. It is the smooth bell-shaped curve. You can see it is the bell-shaped curve, right? It is the bell-shaped curve and perfectly symmetrical. You can see from the figure. And at the peak point of normal distribution, peak point is this one. We can see this is the peak point. At this point, we are having mean equal to median equal to mode. I suppose it is clear to you that at peak point we are having the mean equal to median equal to mode. We are having the same measures of the center tendency. Then if we talk about total area, so this is the midpoint, that is x bar, this is the midpoint. So if we talk about from here and from here, the total area is 1, which is 50% at left and 50% lies at right. Then another property is quartiles are equidistant from median, that is Q3 minus median equal to median minus Q1. So very important formula. They can give you the median, they can give you the third quartile, and they can ask about the first quartile, or they can give you first quartile and median, you can ask about third quartile. Then it is asymptotic to the baseline. You can see it is you can see that it is asymptotic to the baseline, means it is not touching the baseline. You can see it is not touching the baseline, it is asymptotic, means that not touching the baseline, right? Then now there is a area relation there. So this is x bar, this is 1 sigma, this is minus, means left, it is minus 1 sigma, minus 2 sigma and minus 3 sigma. Similarly here 1 sigma, 2 sigma and 3 sigma, right? Now x bar plus minus 1 sigma means x bar plus minus 1 sigma means this point to this point. It covers around 68.8% of the area of the curve. Similarly, x bar plus minus 2 sigma means from here to here. It covers 95.45% of the area, right? Then x plus minus 3 sigma means from here, that is 3 sigma, from here till here. It covers your 99.8% 0.73% of the area, total area. So these are some of the area relationship that you should mug up, that x plus 1 sigma covers 68.8% of the total area of the curve, then x bar plus 2 sigma covers 95.45% of the total area curve, then x bar plus minus 3 sigma cover 99.73% of the total area curve. So this is again very important, you can get question from this part also. Now when we have discussed about this concept of area, but in these kind of when we have this kind of distributions, it is needed to have the standardized we are talking about this area is okay, but how to compute that where our data is lying on, what is the probability, what kind of probabilities is our data is having, and how is probability distribution is lying on like where on the normality curve. For that we have to convert this all these values to the z-score. How we convert that, let's see. So what I discussed, that we have to convert the values, our estimates, into the z-score, so that we can standardize those results and we can compare with this normal distribution curve. So for that we are having the formula, that is z equal to x minus mu upon sigma, that is x bar minus mu upon sigma. So how we compute, I am just moving towards that. This is the table that you should refer for getting the z-score, and this table you can get in your books, or and these tables can be provided with in your examinations, right? So this normal curve table will be given to you at the time of examination also. So let's have a look on the numerical. Let's have a look. Given a normal distribution with mu equal to 40, sigma equal to 6, find the area below 32. That what will be the area below 32, right? So how we compute that? For that again we have given that z is less than what the formula that I have discussed, that x bar that is x minus mu divided by sigma. So here the condition is that the area should be below 32. Then we put 32 minus 40, because population mean mu is given 40 and standard deviation is given to be the 6. We put the value in that, so we get it z is less than minus 1.33. Now z is less than minus 1.33. Okay, but now what is the area that comes under the curve? We have to find that area. So how we will find it out? By the help of this table that I have discussed you. So how we look the value? We have to look the value of 1.33 minus 1.33. So now we have to move to that table, and we go to the minus 1.3, that is your minus 1.3 is here, right? Then minus 1.3, and then you have to look to the 1.33. So this is, you can see 0.00, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. So I have to look in this where here this is the value, that is 0.0918. So I will write down 0.0918. Now this is the area that comes under this condition, that is below 32. Then the area above 27. Similarly, we go with the formula. Here the 27 minus 40 divided by 6, that is standard deviation, and we are having the value. Again, now we have to find out the area above 27, means we have to subtract it from 1, right? So we go for this one, that 1 minus z less than minus 2.17, that is 1 minus Then again we look the value in the similar way from the table, 2.17 minus 2.17. So how it can be done? Minus 2.1, so it means that we have to look at here, that is 2, that 2.1, 2.1, then 7, that means it comes over here, it comes to be, you can see that comes to be this one, 0.0150. Yes, this one. We subtract it and we get this area. 0.9850 is the area that is above 27. So I suppose that how you can done this type of questions, you make more practice on this kind of questions, you can done it easily, and you will get this table in your examination, and you can get in the annexure of your research methodology books. From there you can find out the value. So I have discussed that how you can look into the normal this one normal curved areas table, and you can find out the values from there. So I suppose this is clear to you. All right. Now coming on the next topic, that is central limit theorem. Now this theorem said what it says. It says that regardless of the population distribution model, as the sample size increases, the sample mean tends to be normally distributed around the population mean, and its standard deviation shrinks as n increases. So what we were discussing about the third assumption, that data should be normal, but central limit theorem says that if your data is in a bigger size, right, then the assumption of normality can be overlooked, because as the sample size increases, the sample means tends to be normally distributed around the population, as well as standard deviation also shrinks as n increases. So what this theorem says, if your n increases, sample size increases, then your sample mean tends to be the normally distributed around the population mean. Your sample mean normally distributed around your population mean, and as well as your sigma also start shrinking. So it means that we can overlook the assumption of normality for the large sample size. Testing the normality and interpreting the result. So first point is that we look for our skewness and kurtosis of the data, our data, and we should have the z values in between minus 1.96 to plus 1.96, then our data will be the normal data, otherwise it will be considered to be not normal. Then another test is Shapiro's test. We conduct these two tests in Shapiro's test. We conduct this test in SPSS. I will discuss in upcoming lecture when we discuss about feeding the data in SPSS. Then we will discuss about normality testing of the data, that how we conduct. At this point of time, we should know that this test, that is this one, that is Shapiro's test, the p value should be above 0.05, right? So how we test the normality? Either by skewness and kurtosis, either by this SW test, or just look it on histograms or normal QQ plots or box plots that should visually indicate that our data are approximately normally distributed, right? You can also get the idea about normality of the data by the help of these histograms or the normal QQ plots or box plots, right? They should show the normal distribution. They should visually indicate that our data is normal distributed. If you find out your histograms of your data, then you find it that histogram follows this bell-shaped curve. It should be visually represented by the histograms. So this is all about concept of normality. We have discussed all these points, that what are the various considerations that we should make. Then we discuss about the concept of normality. Then we discuss about properties of normality curve, right? Then we discuss about some of the numericals on that area of relationships in the of the normality curve. We discuss some numericals on that. Then we discuss about the center limit theorem, and finally we discuss about testing the novelty and interpreting the result. In upcoming lecture, I will discuss about feeding questionnaire SPSS, right? So I am starting with SPSS for beginners. So I will discuss each and every concept from the very beginning, that how to feed data, how to feed your questionnaire in SPSS. So please like, share and subscribe my channel. Have a great day ahead.